Good to see everybody. Seems some familiar names in here. All right. Hey, what's going on, Khadijah? Good to see you. Hey, got Diane, Dorian's in here. All right. Some of the usual suspects. We love to see it. And everyone, yeah, please feel free to throw in, the title of your company, what your company does inside of the chat. Our speaker today would like to have as much context as possible. Okay. Well, hey everyone, good afternoon. Thank you so much for attending today's session. You could be anywhere, but you decided to be with us, so we really do appreciate it, and we promise to make it worth your while. I am proud to introduce today's speaker, who's going to be going over a topic that's very timely, given everything going on in the funding market, Ms. Zubi Olin, an experienced grant professional with background in government relations and communications. I do not want to butcher your story because you own your story. So Zubi, if you could give us a quick breakdown on your background and then get into the presentation, that'd be greatly appreciated. Oop, Zubi, I think you're on mute.
There we go. Good afternoon, everyone. And I see another Z name in there. So that's awesome. Good afternoon. And, I know we're going to have people coming in as the presentation goes on. So as I go through, if you have questions, jump in. And then I'm happy to take questions at the end too. This presentation is really about giving you guys the tools you need to find government assistance. This can pertain to, today, tomorrow, with the way the funding community's kind of been turning with the economy, or you can go back to this in years from now. The resources I have are national. I know that Kendra had mentioned that you guys are all over the country, which is great. So I'm going to start on the national level, then bring it down to the states. And again, happy to answer any questions that you have. My background is predominantly in government relations and government affairs, but I started off in professional sports. So I started off here in LA with the Dodgers and the LA Kings. And that's where I really honed my skills on corporate communications and community outreach. And then from there, I went to the US Department of Commerce, which is in DC, but I was working on our California side of things, which was really fun. And then most recently helped out with a technology incubator that the Navy owns. But this is way more fun because I love makeup and I love beauty. And so I'm so excited that Kendra and I were introduced by a mutual friend and just ready to rock and roll. Does anybody need anything before we get started? Any questions?
I'm just going to throw something up there. I'm curious to know. That's a pretty big jump from the sports world into the governmental world. What spurred that hop, if you don't mind me asking?
It was a complete accident. I must have, and don't remember, applying to a job at the Department of Commerce. They called me and they're like, we'd love to interview you. And I said, I don't want to take your stupid surveys, click. Like I thought it was just a prank kind of annoying call. They called me back and they're like, no, you applied for a job. Let's talk. And I felt so silly, but got the job, greatest job ever. And that's how I fell into government relations. So total mistake. You never know where life will take you.
Funny how it works. Okay. Appreciate it.
Yes. All right. So thank you for getting that presentation up. I appreciate it. So today, again, we're just going to help you guys, and give you the tools you really need to hone in on how the government can help you. I know those are scary words, but I promise there's a lot of really cool resources on a national scale that founders can use to get assistance. Also, I know you ladies and gentlemen are here with the Founders Studio, but I also invited the group Women in Technology International. They're a dear group close to my heart, and they have founders that work in technology. So I invited them to come along too. But again, no matter if you're in beauty or technology or both, this is a great presentation for you. The information can be used anywhere. All right, next slide. All right, so let's just get warmed up here. I just have a couple fun little statistics for you. you're in a great place. This country cannot survive without small business and entrepreneurs. We have the freedom to do that, and we really are the backbone of this economy. I know you probably hear it all the time in the news, but it really is true. So we have, just in 2022, 33.2 million small businesses, and that make up the private workforce. That's an incredible amount. You are not alone, from the pizza parlor down the street to the small, salon down the street. You guys really do produce the dollars and the jobs that this country needs to keep moving forward. And the next statistic I'll go through later on in the presentation, how to access this data. But right now, 2023 to 2027, the beauty industry will grow $21.6 billion. That is incredible. That is power. And that's something you can use in your presentations to get funding. Using statistics, especially government statistics, give you the knowledge that you need. They really, when you're talking to investors, showing that you've done your research is really something that can help you get further along in your funding journeys. And again, women-owned businesses are really growing in this country. That's something we haven't seen in the last about 10 years. 2010, the last census that we had a much smaller percentage of women-owned businesses in this country, and it's really grown in the last 10 years, and we only expect that to ramp up. So again, important statistics that you guys can use moving forward. And let's go to the next slide. All right, this quote from President Ronald Reagan always makes me laugh. It's one of his most famous quotes, and I say this because the library of his is down the street. Some words that you may not want to hear. Hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. That always makes people cringe. But this presentation is about how the government can actually help you. We're not here to take your tax dollars. We're not here to do those types of things. All of this information is actually how the government can help you. And you've already paid for these services because your tax dollars help these departments gain the statistics and the education that they provide to you. So again, just something to kind of chuckle about as you move forward. All right, next slide. All right, so first I'm going to do the federal assistance level, and then like I said, we'll go down the line to your regional areas. I know Kendra and Jenny had mentioned we've got people from Oklahoma, Texas, DC, of course, California. So again, everything I'm going to go over is for all of you. And if we happen to have somebody in Guam or American Samoa, these resources are there for you too. So if you're hanging out on an island somewhere, don't worry, we've got you covered. All right. So the first thing I'm going to talk about are these small business development centers. And again, all of this information lives on the Small Business Administration website. So if you guys want to go back and go over the topics I cover, you can go to that website, or I can help you later on kind of navigate those websites. The small business development centers are at least one in every state. California and Texas have the most. And they're tied to universities, nonprofits, and cities and libraries. So depending on the state you live in, it really varies of where these centers are. For instance, in California, it's at Cal State University, Long Beach. And we have another one at Cal Poly SLO, which is up our coast. So you just have to do some research on where these centers are. The cool thing about these centers are they're open to anyone. Again, if you're in the beauty industry or you have a pizza parlor, they're here to help. Your tax dollars pay roughly $75 an hour for mentors to assist you. And so again, it's all free to you, but the government will pay these mentors salaries. They cover anything you need help with. You can get tax help. So usually sometimes they'll hire, tax attorneys to advise small companies. They will hire marketing experts to help you. It really runs the gamut. Marketing, sales, how to set up an LLC, how to just any business type, assistance that you need. And if there's something that you need that they don't offer, they will usually work with you to get a mentor in that can cover that subject or refer you out to someone else. So this is an incredible resource that's already been paid for. And again, why does our government do it? Because they know that our economy functions on small business. And so they want to do what they can to help small businesses across the country. And the next thing is talk to a mentor at SCORE. SCORE was started by President Kennedy, and it's an association of retired CEOs across the country that are also there to help you. Our SCORE director in my region, his name is Larry. He's the best. These people are retired and they're looking for something positive to do with their free time. He loves what he does. He meets with, we have, local women that own cake businesses, bakeries, have technology companies, again, you name it. And he will sit down with you through the SCORE office and mentor you again on whatever topic you need help with. A lot of times the SCORE mentors too have a specialty. So if you need help with sales, they'll send you to someone who did sales for 30 years. So again, it's really tailored to what you need help with. And again, all paid for by the federal government, which is fantastic. Another thing that the Federal Assistance Small Business Administration offers are women's business centers. There's not as many of these across the country, but they still exist in the major markets: LA, New York, DC, Texas. And again, depending on where you are, I'm happy to help you find that local center on your own. And so these centers you can walk into and again, get the same type of help, but it's more focused on women. And again, it's just a great resource and a place for you to go to get the help you need and meet other business owners and founders. Because again, we're talking about all the states and all the territories, you can always, and I'll touch on this again later, library resources. I know it sounds a little old-fashioned to say go to the library, but oh my goodness, these libraries these days have more information that you could ever absorb. This number is national. If you need to do some customer discovery or need some statistics, you can always call the Library of Congress. They are in DC, but you can give them a call from all over the place and ask for references and resources. Again, all paid for. This is all free to you. So wonderful resources that I can't sing enough praises about, all through the Small Business Administration. And I'll pause right here. Does anybody have any questions so far?
Feel free to throw them in the chat, everyone.
Yeah, I can pull up the chat too, so.
Comes to mind. Zubi, quickly, if you can speak to it, you mentioned the Library of Congress. Do you have any insight on how regularly the information and the data is updated? I think for a lot of business owners, being able to pull on statistics for investor pitches or being able to convey to investors or even to banks, right, that are trying to vet whether or not they should invest or provide money to businesses, having data is crucial and key to being able to sell the value of your company. So I'm curious to know, like, is it routinely updated, or are there some archives in the Library of Congress that might be a little antiquated? And if so, what should they avoid?
Ooh, so I can't speak to how often they update their databases. I do know that if there is a book or a statistic you can't find, they will find that for you. The Census Bureau covers the small business survey, and that is yearly. And so those statistics are updated. And Statista.com updates every year as well. But so it just, I would say mostly yearly. And again, if you can't find something, they're happy to help you dig that up.
Are there like reps for the Library of Congress like there are for the SBDC that folks could reach out to at all?
They just have this main number that you can call reference desk.
Much appreciated.
Yeah. Oh, look we've even got the address. It's on 42nd Street in New York City. Hey, look at that. There we go. That's great. And I see that some people have already accessed help through their local library, which is so great to hear. Wonderful. And I'll touch base more a little bit on that in the next few slides. All right, let's go forward. All right. So this, again, pertains to our audience today. The Minority Business Development Agency every year has a competition for funds. In 2023, the funds closed in January, but I want you guys to keep an eye out on this for next year. It's a grant competition. So again, grants, you don't have to pay this money back. It goes to you. And it is just for you guys. It's just for minorities, underserved populations, women of color. And again, it's to build your business. It's to make this country stronger as a whole. And that's a big pot of money, $93.5 million. And you can go to their website and look at where the funds went in the years past. And then again, keep an eye out on it for the next round of where you can, apply. And your local SBA office can absolutely help you do that. So again, getting those funds available, a lot of times there's so much government information out there. And I just want to help you guys kind of weed through that. And so this is a big pot of money that I highly recommend you keep an eye on. And then if you need help with your application process, those SBA offices, know how to do that. They're happy to help you fill that out and submit it. So very good agency to cover. Also, another thing too, follow these guys on LinkedIn. The Department of Commerce always has updates on free classes they offer, money they're giving away. Just a great resource to keep your eye on as the year goes by. Right. Any questions on this one? I'll just wait. All right, we can go to the next slide if nobody has any questions. All right, and so now we're going to take it down to more of the local level. So again, I know we have people from all over the country, Oklahoma, DC, Texas, and if there's any other states I missed, put them in the chat. I'd love to know where you guys are. First of all, your local chambers of commerce. Now, not every chamber is created equal. Not all have the best resources. Some do, some don't. But I highly recommend giving them a call. If you haven't talked to your local chamber yet, give them a call. They're always happy to help. For instance, here in Ventura County, California, we have ColourPop. And you guys, I'm sure, know who they are. They're in Ulta, all over the place. Their factory is in Oxnard, California. If you are looking for manufacturing assistance or wanting to bring in, certain chemicals and things from the ports, a lot of times chambers will be able to introduce you to these factories. That's a great free resource. Their local chamber keeps an amazing list of the factories that do manufacturing in our region. And that's, again, a free resource to you. A lot of times chambers are also great with networking. If you haven't really honed in on your networking skills yet, I highly recommend you practice. Chambers oftentimes will have dinners and monthly luncheons where you can stand up and introduce yourself, say what you're working on, and how you can help your community. Again, another great resource. And sometimes chambers will charge, maybe not the first meeting, it just kind of varies across the country. But again, meet those other business owners in your area and see how you can help each other. And there's so many of them. We also have a national chamber in DC, and they can help you on a national scale too. So if you can't find your local chamber on your own, you can give the national one a call and they're happy to help. Oh, we have a Massachusetts. Hello. And then we have update on certifications. Yes, a lot of nonprofits like chambers will help you with continuing education too. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to go back to the library thing again. Libraries are so valuable, again, and free. If you get a library card, you can have access to a lot of data that you normally would have to pay for, like a statista.com. So if you're doing customer discovery, go into the library, get a library card and have them show you how to log in. Our library here has an actual branch dedicated to business. And so the woman there, Megan, who runs it, businesses know they can come to her and say, hey, Megan, I need help finding this statistic. Can you help me, buy this book on whatever topic you're looking on? And she will do that for you. Most libraries have a budget, again, to get you the resources you need, even if they don't have it. So get that library card. And I can say that for decades to come. They're all locally funded and wonderful resources for you. Another thing that I'd like to touch on are NGOs, which are non-government organizations, including nonprofits. Out here in California, we have tons of nonprofits that are dedicated to helping women and minorities in business. We have a local school called WEAVE, Women's Economic Ventures, and they give subsidized education to founders and entrepreneurs across the state. So again, finding these little pockets of resources is a great, Google it. It's a great way to find additional help. A lot of nonprofits too will base your fee for classes and whatnot on your income for the year. So if you're not making a profit yet, a lot of times they will subsidize those classes and those resources for you. And again, a quick Google search. Let's say we've got a Diane from Massachusetts. If you Googled, Boston, Massachusetts, nonprofits, small business, I guarantee you some will pop up. So again, just using those resources across the country. And as far as nobody wants to talk about this, but if you have a product, which I'm assuming most of you do because you're in the beauty and wellness industry, you have to pay taxes on your sales tax on, at least in California, it's based on product. Once a year, we have to go into these people and give them our money. And for a long time, when I would go in to pay my bill for the year, I didn't have a clue as how to do it. I would sit there and look at the form, couldn't figure out what I owed them, would just kind of wing it. And finally, one of the women at the office said, we offer classes on how to pay your taxes for free. Oh, I wish I had known that sooner. A lot of franchise tax boards will offer free assistance. Take advantage of that so you don't make a mistake. Especially with your taxes, because you don't want to have to pay penalties and fines later. Take advantage of those free Zoom classes. Go in there and say you need help. I guarantee you they will help you out. Our tax boards were closed, of course, during the pandemic, but now obviously tomorrow this is officially over. So hopefully if your tax boards aren't open already, they should be quite soon. And I highly recommend you work with them. All great things to have. So we've got a Georgia in here too. Hello. All right. Any other questions so far? Hey, David. Welcome, everyone. The Women in Technology International just arrived as well. Good friends of ours. So we're excited to have him here.
Hey, thank you so much for joining. We also have New York and Philly on the call as well. So we've got folks all across the country, Zubi. Can you speak a little bit more to the state tax boards? Tax is so critically important for businesses, and it's something that you need to be mindful of when you're scaling up.
Yes.
Any thoughts around how to best connect with these tax boards and things you should be mindful of in order to truly leverage the resource? That'd be great.
Absolutely. So I think things to be mindful of is know where your state tax board office is for wherever you live. And make sure you register every year. Even if you haven't made a profit, you need to, it's just like personal income tax. You've got to file.
Yeah.
And I think that's something a lot of people don't think about. Oh, well, I didn't make a profit. I put it all back in the company. I'm fine. You still need to file. They operate just, like the IRS would on a federal level. Oftentimes, that's one of the biggest mistakes I see. Another thing is the Small Business Administration, all of those mentors I mentioned, they'll have somebody that can walk you through your tax filing as well, which is great. And most of the time it's online. But if you are struggling with the online login, we all know how government websites can be annoying and non-functional, go in and do it. I think it's in Texas when you file your property taxes, you have to go in and do it. So every state is really different. Just make sure you understand the rules around them. Some states also will tax a service. So if you have a hair salon, that's considered a service, right? Not like a lip balm or something. So again, make sure you understand what your product is, if it's both, and how those taxes will work. A lot of times people will misclassify that as well. Well, I have a service. Well, no, it's a product. So make sure you understand the difference as well. I think those are really important to paying your state taxes.
Really appreciate that. It's funny, a lot of the things that you've talked about, whether it's, ensuring that you have your taxes in order or leveraging statistics from the Library of Congress or leveraging the Small Business Development Corporation, it sounds like you need to have a really good understanding and have all your ducks in a row before you start asking for money, right? Whether it's a grant, whether it's fundraising. Do leveraging all of these resources, in your view, contribute to whether or not you can get a federal grant or a local grant? Like, if you don't have your ducks in a row here, like, do you have any thoughts on that?
Ooh, I haven't looked at the application for the Minority Business Development Grant from last year. But I can tell you right now, having your ducks in a row if you're missing something in your application, they're going to kick you out of it. The
Right.
government loves to do that. So yes, having your ducks in a row is incredibly important. I was at a new venture fair last week at Cal Lutheran University, which is where I went to school. And it was college kids presenting their startups. Whether half of them were serious about it or not didn't matter. But they all would say to me, and there was probably 100 of them in the room, well, I'll deal with this more when I get funding.
Mm,
Over and over. And I think that, Ryan, you mentioned it. What happens if you don't get funding?
right.
You don't necessarily need it. But there's this thing in the back of everybody's minds nowadays in the entrepreneurship world is, oh, I need funding or I can't do anything. That's not true. You can take your profits, circle it back to make more product. But if you are going to get funding, you have to be ready. I have sat in on a lot of funding meetings. Pepperdine University here in California has a startup competition every year where companies stand in front of these billionaires and ask for money. If you don't have your ducks in a row and you can't answer their questions, game
Mm.
over. So make sure you are prepared, right? If someone's going to give you their money, you've got to be prepared. Vice versa. If you were going to give somebody your money, you would want them to be prepared as well, right?
100%. Better be paying your taxes, better have these stats, better have your revenue streams in order and know what your business model is. If I'm giving you my money, you better know your business better than I do. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Oh, you know what, guys? Well, during the question session, there is one thing I want to look up for you guys, because this competition is national and you guys can apply for it next year. It's going to drive me nuts on what that is. I can't think of the name right now, but I will find it. Oh, okay. So the Pepperdine, and I'm going to type it into the message board. This is a great competition I think you guys should apply for. Last year they did have a hair care product company in there and she won some money. Okay, so Pepperdine is a private school here in LA. It's in Malibu. And they every year do this competition, most fundable companies. And so companies from all over the country can come to Malibu to present their product and win. I think it's up to $250,000 plus a scholarship to get their MBA. So I highly recommend for next year you guys keep an eye on this competition as well. And I know the folks over there that run it. So if you need any introductions, happy to do so. All right.
And to clarify, do you need to be a California resident in order to participate, or is
No, it's people from all over the country.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And the woman who runs it, her name is Amy. She is fantastic. Yes, there we go. That's a great one, and I'm happy to introduce you guys to anyone over there that you need. All right, next slide. All right, so now we're gonna get to, you tell me I need all this data. You've told me I need to be prepared. Well, where the heck am I supposed to find it? So we're gonna go through all of that. Number one, our government, the biggest thing that we do outside of an actual act of war, believe it or not, is running our statistics bureau. When I say that, people lose their minds, but it's true. So we have what we call the Census Bureau, and that's who I worked for during the 2020 census. It is our job day in and day out since the Constitution was written, and it is mandated in the Constitution. I forget where. I think it's Title 13, but it mandates that we have to count the population of this country no matter what. A president can't say, I don't want to do it. Our founding fathers understood the importance of counting population. But on top of that, we do 100 other surveys, and one of them is our annual business survey. That one, you guys have to take a look at that. I highly recommend you do so. It counts the number of businesses started and lost every year. It counts statistics on the type of workers, men, women, minorities, etc. And it breaks it down to each state. It counts revenue for different industries. And the list just goes on and on and on. So I think that's a really valuable thing for you guys to take a look at every year. And again, all free information on the Census Bureau's website for you to access. And it's every year. And then our massive population count is every 10 years. And that really, I find small businesses will ask me, well, how does this pertain to me? Well, let's say you want to open up a salon in Georgia. We've got a Georgia here. And you're not really sure where to put it, right? You wouldn't just plop a salon down anywhere. you would really want to know who lives where. Where's my population that are my customers? You can use census data to go down to the block of who's where, what type of, what's the demographics of that population and where do they live. So you've got some real good resources to help you understand where to invest your money. That's where this data comes in handy. I happen to know for a fact that a lot of car dealerships will use census data to understand where to put the newest car dealership, right? You wouldn't want to put it out where nobody lives, and you can't, it's just great resources to understand where to invest your time and your money. So take a look at that. And again, I'm happy to help you guys. That website, there's so much information. It can be overwhelming because it goes back hundreds of years. So happy to help you guys at any time dig through that information. And the other really great statistical website that I love is called statista.com. And you can access it through your local library. So we're going back to the whole library thing. Again, this website holds information on all types of businesses, technology companies, car dealerships, beauty products, you name it. They will have information on there for the industry that you're in. So for instance, yesterday, I went on there, typed in the beauty industry, NAICS codes, and this popped up. So you can access information from Avon, Bed Bath & Body Works, Revlon, all of these huge cosmetics companies across the US and the globe. So in Europe, they will break it down by country. And again, if you guys want to know, okay, I have this product, how do I match up to a Revlon? How do I match up to a big business? Or where is there a country that I could enter? This is a great resource for you. And again, all free through your local library. They say information is power, right? So here it is. And there's a ton of information on there as well about, comparing population over time to business revenue. So let's say you want to enter a country that's growing, like the US or India, for say, it'll tell you how much over time the population has grown versus how much a certain industry has revved up. So all great information there. Let's go to the next slide. And I think, here's another one. I know talking statistics can be really boring, but I promise it's power for you. So our Bureau of Labor Statistics is where you guys are going to go when you really want to ramp up your staff and you really want to understand what's going on with like the consumer price index and things like that. That's where all of this is housed. And again, free. Do any of you guys do any importing, exporting of, raw goods to create your products? Yes, I see Ryan.
Many founders.
Yeah. This is where you can go to get import, export data. And man, the people at SBA, if you go in there and say you want help with importing, exporting, they're going to get really excited. I don't know. For some reason, that is a topic they seem to love. So again, you can check this daily. That data is updated on a monthly basis. And if you want to understand, wage growth within a certain part of the country, this is where it's going to be. Obviously, our unemployment numbers live here too. You can check employment projections. So let's say you're in Atlanta. We all know that city is growing. It will confirm that with how much employment has grown over, certain periods of time. So again, another great resource that you guys can copy and paste this information and put it in your deck. All great resources. And let's go to the next slide. All right, so I'd love to take some questions here in the last 25 minutes that we have. And when you give me your question, I'd love to know who you are and what you're working on and how I can help, because this is a fun topic. So
if any of you all have anything, feel free to throw it in the chat or come off of mute and introduce yourselves.
Yeah.
Hi, I don't know if you can hear me. My name is Yumi Francois. I'm the founder of Flex and Fly, a travel wellness company that provides stretching, meditation, and yoga classes at the airport. I'm not really sure if you spoke about MWBE because I was on the train and I got cut off a couple of times. Okay, I have my MWBE certification for almost 5 years now, and I know that it's changed a lot. And I was wondering if you could talk a bit more about that because it's been very helpful for me, and I think a lot of the founders would find it very helpful for them as well.
Okay. And what was the certification that you had mentioned?
The MWBE, the Minority Women in Business Enterprise.
Oh, the grant that I had mentioned earlier.
No, not just the grant, the certification.
Oh, the certification. You know, I can't speak to that actually. I don't, but I will definitely look into it. Let me write that down. You know, I can't tell you much about that certification actually. I'm sorry, but I'm happy to if you want to put your email in the chat, I'm happy to do some research on that.
Oh no, it's okay. I was gonna have a follow-up question, but it's okay. It's completely okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For additional context surrounding that certification, I won't talk very much in depth around it, but there are many top Fortune 500 huge corporations that have DE&I, type of mandates. And so they're looking for businesses to collaborate with and to contract with. So having an MWBE certification puts you in better position to secure larger contracts for your business. So outside of even the grant aspect, it could be a great way for you to develop a niche and also secure some big contracts for your brand. So it's relevant these days.
Oh,
Yeah,
very good.
that's how I got into the airport. And
awesome.
so I find that it's very helpful because they set a certain amount of money apart for minority business owners that only we can touch. I know that I got my certification very early, but since then there's been a lot of issues where people were lying whether or not they were minorities. So it's been a little difficult for people to get the certification faster. But I do know that it has helped a lot small businesses when it comes to attaining federal grants and federal opportunities.
Great. In California, so government contracting is tough. That is, you guys said it. That is a grueling process. At least for the Californians on this call, we have something called the Golden State Procurement Offices. And you can walk into one of those and they will help you with your government contracting, application. So, and they travel all around the country and help with that as well. Our SBIR and STTR folks, each government office has one of these people that you can go to and ask questions about how to access these grants through the government. Even NASA has one. So if any of you guys are working on space stuff, I know that guy. But yeah, every government office has a SBIR expert that can come and help you. So I'll put that in the chat because you guys can look this one up and try to find your local one as well. Wait, technical.
Thank you for bringing that up, though, Yumi. Very timely.
Sure. I should have put that in my, and this is for all that. All right, there you go. Next question. And I'm sorry, and I will definitely look into this. I'm curious about these MWBE certifications. I want to learn more about that. So thank you for asking that question.
Hi there. I've got a question. My name is Ovi. I'm the founder of a startup called Cosmetrics AI. We analyze the condition of people's hair and then recommend what they should use in order to solve any issues they have pertaining to hair care. So technical and beauty. And my question is around, could you explain could you explain a bit more about the application process regarding the grants that you mentioned? So what are the kind of the key requirements? How does it get assessed? How does it get judged? And a bit of insight into how it takes, if that's possible. As you can hear, I have an English accent, but my company's based in Illinois.
Okay. Well, welcome. And that's a great, I love this company. I know I'm seeing the comments too. People are loving this. How long have you been in the States for?
I've been in the States for about 6 months now.
Oh, well, welcome. We're happy to have you. Yeah, very good. Well, I watched the the coronation and and of course the concert as well. I lived over in England in the 90s.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm a huge like Take That fan, and nobody knows who they are except for you. This is great. So the government funding one, the SBIR, STTR, which is again a government agency, would give you a pot of money for you to develop your product because they need it. That they have stages or phases actually. It's like phase 1 is submit your application. If your application is accepted, phase 2 is, I think you get $80,000, and that's 4 months after you submit. And then stage 3 is like 250,000 a year later. Every government agency is going to be different. So I will say, if you're going for the, small business minority office, check with them, because I know that they have their process is way different than like NASA per se. And I just spoke with the NASA office a couple days ago about that. There's nothing that's similar. All of these applications will be online, so you can submit through the government agency. And again, these processes are slow, and you have to be on time. I know that the gentleman at NASA said, if you're submitting your application and you're a day late, forget it. So make sure that you understand your timeline and your process for submitting. And again, if you have questions, you can call these agencies and call your local procurement office, and they'll help walk you through it. That's their job. The grant, as far as the minority business one that I talked about earlier, that is every year. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on when the application process opens and when it closes, because they will not wiggle, on dates for you if you're late. Did I answer that question okay? I hope.
Yeah, it was good. Great insights. Good to know. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh,
Khadijah, you can go ahead and ask your question.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Khadijah Doso. I'm the founder and CEO of Doso Beauty. We're an e-commerce organic beauty supply company. We're mostly known for our hypoallergenic hair extensions, which are also recyclable. So my question is geared towards any direction that I could try to go into, because as far as from a sustainability perspective, there's a couple of different middleman companies that help to recycle different hair extensions and other beauty products and that sustainability feature. But I think one of the things I want to do is to try to procure some type of government agreement, because as far as pollution is concerned, especially within urban communities, hair extensions are one of the largest pollutants. So any directions there or ideas of where I should call or try to make connects with?
Ooh, well, that's a really cool niche I think that you have going. I didn't know that that was a big source of pollutants. I wouldn't have thought that at all. Wow.
Yeah. When you see the tumbleweed down the street, it's clogging people's drains.
Wow.
Unfortunate. And that's not just in the States, that's in Africa and around the world as well too.
Okay. Huh. Interesting. Hair extensions are so big out here in LA. I can name like 50 places that I can go to get, different types of hair. Let me think on that. So I just talked to her the other day. I have a friend who works for, this is going to sound awful. So she works for the trash company here in Ventura County. She's our government relations executive. So she goes out and talks to the cities about, pickup times and how much they're going to pick up and illegal dumping and all of that. That's her job. I would actually go. So where are you living?
I'm based in Philly.
You're in Philly. I would go to your local trash companies and recycling companies and ask them to partner with you. I think that takes great initiative. Introduce yourself. This is what I'm working on. How can we partner together? Because they already have the outreach, right? They already have the customer base. And I would, when you call them or email them, ask for their government relations representative. Because again, it's their job to work with the community. That's all they do all day. That's what they're hired to do. So I think I would start there, start local, get some partners going. I like that. I mean, there's such a green push nowadays too. You could even see if your local chamber knows who to contact. Okay. I think that's also, well, yeah, because again, every company is going to have that. And I think education is a strong point for you. I didn't know this. I didn't know that statistic. Share that.
Yeah. We
Maybe go to local stores too that sell these products and say, hey, can we start up a recycling and incentive to bring back your old pieces?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's definitely something that we did. And when I first moved back to Philly, I tried to get in contact with the recycling company here because it is a plastic, and they gave me the runaround. But
Oh.
I do have a relationship with Chamber of Commerce, so hopefully they can get me to somebody. And I'm also going to ask for the government relations personnel at both recycling and landfill. So thank you. That was helpful.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so glad. I'm bummed you're not here because I have a name for you. But if you ever come out to California and grow your business out here, I can help you with that.
Yeah, we have a ton of business in Cali, so I would still take the contact.
Great. Let me real quick. It's Athens Services. I'll put
Okay.
that in yeah. They're great, and they're all down the Central Coast, so I think that they're great to contact too. Yeah, excellent.
All right, thank you.
Well, I didn't think that I would ever give that contact out. Their company, and they're really involved in their chambers, and that's how I met them too. So, all right, next question. We've got about 12 minutes left, so happy to keep going.
I'm going to throw one up here just again. Really appreciate the presentation. So my mind is kind of racing. Do you have any tips on how to best reach out to folks in government? Like, I know you're a whiz with regards to government relations, but I think that's something that many people may not have the same skill set in. So how do you recommend reaching out to people in these positions to gather resources, collaborate, XYZ?
Sure. So I think always start with an email so they have your name written down, they have your phone number written down. It's just always nice to have something that you're, looking at. But oh my God, pick up the phone. So many people nowadays will not pick up the phone. We're so used to texting and all these things. I think if you call these people or you call your local office that you need help with, they're going to be blown away that you actually called. And that's a generational thing, right? But I always hear it. I have a friend who runs one of our chambers up on the coast, like way up. And she's like, I call people. How do you think I get my job done? I pick up the phone because nobody else will. And so she sticks out. So I think that's a great way to do it. Email first, so it's all written out, and then a phone call. And if you're having trouble, I would say the federal side, that can be tough, but your local offices will help. They're willing to talk to you. It's more when you get up into like your senators and your legislative folks, they're not always the best, but legally they do have to get back to you at some point. So, they can't ignore you forever. So just know that. Yes. Oh, and if you have, gosh, if you have a product that you think one of your local, House of Representatives would love or something, introduce yourself. I can't say it enough that networking and getting out there and speaking to people will grow your business. Say, hey, my name is Zubi and I have this product I'm working on in your community. I'm bringing in tax dollars to your community. Let's meet. I want to show my product to you and share it with you. I think that takes initiative. Enough people don't do that nowadays.
I appreciate that. Do you think that local services and state-run services are a bit underutilized?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, in the last couple of years, I think this entrepreneurship thing has really grown. Everybody wants in on it. So I don't think they're underutilized, but I think people just don't take initiative, right? It's just easier to, I'll deal with it later type of thing.
Right.
Yeah. Be that person they won't forget.
Great lesson there. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Yeah, I just totally butchered my question in the chat. Sorry, but is there a huge difference between the African American Chamber of Commerce versus your local city Chamber of Commerce?
Not much of a difference other than who they serve.
Okay.
I would talk to both. Yeah, if you have two in your area, talk to both.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have a Hispanic chamber here in LA and our regular chamber, and there is no difference. It's just on the population they serve. Especially for the Hispanic population here in California, it's just better for them to speak to someone that speaks Spanish if there's a language barrier going on. So it's really just about who they serve, not what they do.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, All right. If no one else has any questions, Zubi, thank you so much for the
Oh, you're
amazing
welcome.
presentation today. For all of you all that are in attendance or watching the recording, if you would like to connect with Zubi, she is going to be opening up office hours in the near future. So we will share out her Calendly link and move forward from there. If you want to learn anything surrounding grants, government relations, where to find and access resources for your pitch and stuff like that, please utilize Zubi. She's an expert in areas that many of us are not. So leverage the resources available. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I just put in my office hours, and then I think Jenny's going to send you guys out the Calendly link. So again, happy to help. And again, if later today you guys think of a question that you didn't get answered, during this hour, shoot me a text or an email. I'm happy to help out. This was really fun. I enjoyed it. So thank you guys for attending.
Well, amazing, everyone. Thank you again. Have an amazing day and stay tuned. Talk later.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.